This is the largest order of jets in Boeing's history. What is this rip your face off Qatar Airways order going to mean for Boeing's order backlog, though? Clearly still a major concern in this sector. Walk me through it.
Well, obviously, Qatar is very eager to lock in those slots now because they have some major expansion plans for the airline and for their hub at Doha Hamad Airport, and they want to keep competitive as everybody else in the region is racing ahead and growing very rapidly. So this is an opportunity for them to, lock in those slots and boost their order book, to over 400 aircraft now, I believe.
How realistic is the delivery timeline of these 210 aircraft? As I mentioned, Boeing also already has a very significant order backlog. It can't get these planes out on time.
Yeah, well, I mean, obviously that's an issue for all airlines, particularly in the short, medium term, concerns. But eventually these aircraft will be delivered. And I think, Qatar has, like other airlines, has the ability to extend some of their existing aircraft because some of these will be replacements. To deal with the potential of continued delivery delays. But the more you order means the more you get eventually, I guess. And I guess, hedging your bets a little bit and ordering more to lock in whatever comes out slowly from the Boeing assembly line and Airbus for that matter.
Right. Boeing popping off the back of this as well. What is it going to mean for the company's short to medium term financials, particularly from a cash flow and capital expenditure perspective?
Yeah, I mean, Boeing is obviously, relatively weak, financially, but it's still has a bright outlook, I would say, over the long term. And, they'll get through this challenging period, and they have a good order book. The 777X is, done quite well, despite all the setbacks and all the delays in that program, done well compared to the A350-1000, which Qatar, of course, is the largest operator and the launch operator of, and even with Qatar potentially placing more 350 orders, next month at Paris Air Show. This is a major vote of confidence for that 777X program, and that's why you see investors, reacting quite positively to this news.
Really curious to see how Airbus shares perform at the European Open as well. It seems as if Boeing has left Airbus in the dust when it comes to this most recent round of orders. Of course, what happens in Paris and indeed in Dubai is going to be very closely watched. But Brendan, what does this mean for Boeing's competitive landscape, particularly against Airbus in the wide-body market and in particular in the Middle East?
I mean, I think they're doing very well in the wide-body market. The 787, again, also more orders here, has done relatively well. Delivery slots quickly being secured for many years into the future now. So they're as long as they can get the 777X out the door finally and get that thing going and delivered to the customers that have been eagerly waiting for this plane for so long, I think that they're doing quite well in the wide body space. The narrow body space, I think, is a little bit, it's where the Airbus has really been doing much better than Boeing and continues to do better, including in Qatar. Relatively small narrow body fleet in Qatar, but they, and they have both aircraft, but they clearly are, going more with the Airbus in the narrow body space, while they're going more with the Boeing in the wide body space.
It was interesting. I spoke with the Qatar Airways CEO, Badr Al-Mir, last year, and he said that they were actively looking for deals in this space. They were chasing more aircraft to attempt to meet surging demands that we see in this part of the world. And he didn't mind where they came from. Of course, they ultimately ended up landing on Boeing. Brendan, I'm curious to get a sense from you about whether or not that is politically motivated or whether or not this is just genuinely a better aircraft, more match fit for the needs of the airline. What's your take?
Most of the time, it's a combination. I mean, obviously, there's always political ramifications for these kind of orders, particularly the timing of the orders, obviously political. But, at the same time, these airlines are doing commercial evaluations and negotiating quite aggressively for the best deals, and they have massive, power because of the size of their existing fleet, their size of the requirement, and so forth. And so there's always some political ramifications again, but it's mainly a commercial thing. And Qatar will continue to order more airplanes from both Airbus and Boeing. They need planes both for replacement and for growth. With the launch of Riyadh Air and the rapid growth generally in Saudi Arabia, as well as in other hubs, Dubai being still the leading hub in the region, that there will be growth there in the future as they move to the new airport. Growth from Abu Dhabi as well, which is slightly smaller still than Doha. But there's just there's so much from a competitive perspective they need to do to basically stay where they are as kind of the number 2 hub and the number 2 airline in the region as everybody grows. And Qatar, Qatar Airways about 80% of their traffic is still transit, even though point to point has grown. That's a very competitive space, not only with the Middle East, but also with other hubs in Asia and in places like Istanbul. So it's a competitive market, and they've done very well financially the last couple of years, but they need to kind of keep this momentum going. They can't afford to slow down, basically.